What's up, everybody? Yahweh bless. So the other day, I shared with you guys that I was reading this book, Defectors by Paola Ramos, and I'm absolutely hooked. And when I tell you that you need to get this book, you need to get this book, especially Latino community. You need to get this book. I'm halfway through the book, and my goodness, all of the things that it covers is pretty deep. And I think it's a very, very, very good analysis on what has been taking place in the Latino community and the shift that we have been seeing over years. And if you really, really take a look at things over entire generations, we're looking at probably maybe the last 100 years. It was something that was always there when it comes to that shift of a lot of Latinos going into that far right space when it comes to their political persuasions and their sentiments really aligning with those of white nationalist and extremist. I mean, people who are historically border patrol vigilantes are usually white nationalist. And now we are in an era where we have Latinos who are proud border vigilantes, proud anti-immigrants. I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about like these like older, 60 and above, Latinos. I'm talking about people who are like in that space of 30 to 40, maybe mid 40s, who are either first generation children of immigrants or immigrants themselves. And Paola Ramos highlights one person in particular. His name is Anti-Immigrant or Agüero. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. Definitely look him up. Last name is spelled Aguero. And Anti-Immigrant is a very interesting person to examine. And she did a very good analysis of looking at the entire picture of what is it that creates a situation where you have someone like Anti-Immigrant become an anti-immigrant border vigilante. But I wanted to share some pieces here that talk about the deep-rooted need for white acceptance amongst a lot of Latinos, and it's such a prevalent need still to this day, and emotion and desire still in 2025. And you will have people that will try to dismiss the reality of that, but it is still a fact, and it's a very real one that people need to stop ignoring, because to this very day it still happens. And what a lot of people don't like to accept or admit is that you can be very proud of your culture. You can be very proud to be Dominican or Puerto Rican or Cuban or Ecuadorian or Honduran or whatever the case may be. You can be very proud to be those things. You can be very proud, right? But that doesn't mean that you cannot simultaneously seek white acceptance, especially when white acceptance has already been a feature of your culture before you even came to the United States. Because as I've said in other videos, and one of my top viral videos that's posted to my gallery, and something else that Paola Ramos discusses in this book, which for me and a lot of people should be confirmation. All of us who've been talking about these things, we know what we're talking about. But the fact is that we learn white acceptance and the need to seek proximity to whiteness in Latin America, because that was part of the colonization process. That was the colonial experience. It's ingrained in the Latin American psyche. The caste system that was established there already set the tone for that. It's like, the argument that I would hear so much from a lot of Dominicans all the time would be like, how dare you say, that there's racism here? That doesn't exist. We embrace our African heritage. We love música de palo. It's like, it doesn't matter how much música de palo you dance, how much merengue with whatever level of drums is in the music. That doesn't negate the fact that normalized racism is a strong feature of the culture. That doesn't mean that you're not racist because you like drums, because you can dance to the beat of a drum, because you enjoy dancing to the beat of the drum. You know, if anything, I could just say that is your ancestors, your African ancestors begging to come forth, begging to come forth out of you. But I just want to read these little excerpts for you guys. Definitely weigh in. This is a great piece of conversation, but I think Ramos really hits these things like right on the nail. So here we go. So she says, anti-immigrant sentiment is visceral, it is tribal, and it provokes a feeling that can transcend lines of race and ethnicity because it taps into one of our most essential human traits, our core sense of identity and belonging. Then she says, these concluded that nativism isn't rooted in the they are stealing our jobs and lowering our wages narrative, but rather in native-born's perception that newcomers are distorting their national identity and cultural norms. Notably, their research found that natives are more concerned about whether immigrants speak the country's native language than with their race and ethnicity. In other words, the more immigrants can appear to perfectly blend into that image of America, one characterized by unique norms, culture, and language, the less threatening they become. And this part, very poignant. Yet, as opposed to many white Americans, Latinos have to work twice as hard to not just feel American, but to be accepted as American by the larger society. Assimilation is a contractual agreement. It can only work if both parties agree to the terms. Thus, recent immigrants don't just threaten Latinos' own sense of belonging, they threaten to taint the image the rest of America has of Latinos.